Have you ever trusted a company so much that you gave them your best idea only to watch them steal it and throw you out like trash? That was exactly what happened to Olivia Carter, and that single moment changed her life forever. Olivia was not born rich. She grew up in a small rented apartment in Toronto with her mother, who worked double shifts at a hospital. From a young age, Olivia learned the value of hard work. While other kids played outside, she stayed inside studying, dreaming of one day building something meaningful. After graduating with a degree in business analytics, Olivia joined Brightcore Solutions, a fast-growing tech marketing company. It wasn't a glamorous job at the beginning. She started as a junior analyst, sitting in a small cubicle doing reports that nobody noticed. But Olivia had something special. She observed, she listened, she learned, and most importantly, she thought differently. While others followed instructions, Olivia questioned systems. She noticed inefficiencies in campaigns, poor data usage, and wasted budgets. Slowly, she began developing a new strategy in her mind, a performance-based marketing model that could reduce cost and increase profit at the same time. For months, she worked on it after office hours. Late nights, cold coffee, tired eyes. She created presentations, tested data models, and simulated results. This wasn't just work for her. This was her dream. She believed this idea could change her career. One Monday morning, Brightcore announced an internal innovation pitch session. Employees were invited to present new ideas to senior management. Olivia felt her heart race. "This is my chance," she whispered to herself. She spent the entire weekend preparing. She practiced her presentation again and again. She even rehearsed in front of the mirror, fixing her posture and voice. On the day of the pitch, Olivia wore a simple blue blazer. She walked into the conference room with nervous hands but strong determination. Senior executives sat at the long glass table. Among them was Richard Hale, the company's operations director, known for being smart, cold, and extremely ambitious. When Olivia's turn came, she stood up. Her voice trembled slightly at first, but as she continued, confidence grew. She explained her model, how it worked, why it was different, how it could increase profit by nearly 40%. The room became quiet. Even Richard leaned forward. After she finished, silence filled the space. Then one manager clapped. Others followed. Richard smiled politely. "Interesting," he said. "We'll review this." Olivia walked out of the room feeling proud. For the first time in her career, she felt seen. Over the next few weeks, something strange happened. Richard started calling Olivia to private meetings. He asked questions about her model, requested files, asked for detailed reports. Olivia felt excited. "They're finally taking me seriously," she thought. She shared everything openly. Every document, every calculation, every strategy detail. She trusted the company. She trusted the system. That trust would soon destroy her. 1 month later, Brightcore announced a new company strategy, the same model Olivia had created, same structure, same logic, same projections. But there was one difference. Her name was nowhere. Richard presented it as his innovation during a board meeting. The board praised him. He received recognition. He was promised promotion. Olivia watched the internal announcement email in shock. Her hands shook as she read the words. "This is my idea," she whispered. She immediately requested a meeting with HR and management. In the meeting room, Olivia spoke calmly but firmly. "I created this model. I have the original files with timestamps. I presented this during the innovation pitch." Richard leaned back in his chair. "Olivia, ideas belong to the company once shared internally. You were part of a team environment." "That's not true," Olivia replied. "You took my work and removed my name." The HR manager avoided eye contact. "This issue is sensitive. We suggest you move forward professionally." Olivia realized something terrible. They were protecting power, not truth. A week later, Olivia was called into HR again. This time, there were termination papers on the table. Due to company restructuring, your position is being eliminated, HR said. Olivia felt the room spin. Restructuring? You just launched my project. Richard didn't even look at her. Security was called to escort her out. No farewell, no explanation, no respect. As Olivia walked out of Brightcore's glass building carrying her cardboard box, rain started falling outside. People passed by without noticing her pain. She sat in her car and finally broke down. Tears streamed down her face, not because she lost the job, but because she lost justice. She remembered the late nights, the sacrifices, the hope, all stolen. That evening, Olivia returned to her small apartment. She sat alone in silence. Her phone buzzed with unread messages from colleagues who were afraid to support her openly. She turned off the phone. She stared at the wall for hours. Something inside her changed that night. She stopped crying. She wiped her face and slowly stood up. "They think I am finished," she said quietly. "They think I am powerless." She opened her laptop, opened her original project files, looked at the timestamps, looked at the data, looked at her work. Then she whispered words that marked the beginning of her transformation. "They stole my idea, but they don't own my brain." That night, Olivia didn't sleep. She started rewriting her business plan, not for Brightcore, for herself. She began researching startup funding, market competitors, and legal boundaries. She studied how companies protected intellectual property. She learned about corporate weaknesses. Her pain turned into fuel, her anger turned into focus, and her silence turned into strategy. Brightcore believed they had destroyed her career. In reality, they had just created their strongest enemy. After the night Olivia was fired, the world didn't suddenly become kind. Bills still arrived, rent was still due, food still had to be bought. But something inside Olivia had changed. She no longer saw herself as a victim. She saw herself as someone who had been betrayed, and betrayal creates warriors. For the first few days, Olivia stayed inside her apartment, not because she was depressed, but because she was planning. She covered her living room wall with sticky notes. Market research papers lay scattered on the floor. Her laptop remained open day and night. She started by analyzing Brightcore's weaknesses. She knew their system better than anyone because she had helped build it. She knew how they exaggerated results to clients. She knew which departments were inefficient. She knew which investors expected unrealistic growth. She also knew something more dangerous. Brightcore's success now depended heavily on the stolen model, her model, and that made them vulnerable. Olivia contacted an old university friend named Jason, who worked in venture capital. They met at a small cafe. Jason looked surprised. "You disappeared from Brightcore. What happened?" Olivia didn't tell the emotional story. She spoke professionally. "My idea was stolen. I want to build my own company. I need advice, not sympathy." Jason respected her honesty. He reviewed her business plan. "This is strong," he said, "but you'll need proof that this is yours." Olivia smiled calmly. "I already have that." She showed him the original files with creation dates, email backups, and version histories. Everything was documented. Jason nodded slowly. "You were smart to keep records." Over the next few weeks, Olivia worked non-stop. She registered her startup under a new name, Nova Reach Analytics. She rented a small shared office space, nothing fancy, just a desk, internet connection, and silence to think. She designed her brand identity herself. Logo, website, pitch deck. She wasn't trying to compete emotionally. She was building professionally. At the same time, Brightcore celebrated publicly. Richard was promoted. Press releases praised the innovative growth strategy. Clients signed new contracts. From the outside, Brightcore looked unstoppable, but internally, cracks had already begun. Because Richard had stolen the concept, but not the understanding behind it. Brightcore's team struggled to implement the system correctly. Performance reports were inaccurate. Campaigns started underperforming. Clients complained quietly. Olivia knew this would happen because the model required constant optimization, something only its creator truly understood. Instead of watching from far away, Olivia decided to step closer. She applied for a freelance consulting position with one of Brightcore's biggest clients, a global retail brand named Urban Vibe. Using her new company, NovaReach, she submitted a proposal. Urban Vibe accepted. Now Olivia was indirectly working inside Brightcore's ecosystem again, but this time as an outsider with power. During meetings with Urban Vibe executives, Olivia calmly explained problems in Brightcore's performance. She showed real data. She demonstrated better strategies. Urban Vibe executives were shocked. "This is more efficient than what Brightcore provides," one manager said. Olivia didn't attack Brightcore directly. She let results speak. Urban Vibe slowly reduced dependency on Brightcore and started shifting budget toward NovaReach. Brightcore noticed the loss. Richard became angry. "Why are clients leaving?" he shouted in internal meetings. No one had answers. Meanwhile, Olivia continued building quietly. She hired 2 talented freelancers. She trained them personally. She protected her intellectual systems. She built contracts carefully. Unlike Brightcore, she created a transparent culture. Her company started gaining reputation. Small businesses approached NovaReach, then medium brands. Revenue increased slowly but steadily. One evening, Jason called Olivia. "I have interesting news," he said. "What?" "Brightcore is seeking emergency investment. Their growth numbers are dropping. Investors are worried." Olivia closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Phase 2 of her revenge had arrived. She didn't want to destroy Brightcore emotionally. She wanted to expose them financially. Jason continued. "Some investors want fresh leadership ideas. If someone presents a better system, they might reconsider Brightcore's management." Olivia understood immediately. She prepared a professional investor presentation, not attacking Brightcore, but showing NovaReach's superior performance. She included growth metrics, client satisfaction data, profit margins, operational efficiency, everything Brightcore pretended to have. Jason arranged a private pitch with a group of angel investors who were already connected to Brightcore. During the pitch meeting, Olivia spoke calmly and confidently. She didn't mention her past job. She focused on future potential. One investor asked, "Your model looks similar to Brightcore's system." Olivia smiled politely. "Because I designed the original version years ago. What you see here is the evolved form." Silence filled the room. After the meeting, investors started asking questions about Brightcore's internal practices. Concerns grew. Doubts formed. Meanwhile, Brightcore's internal stress increased. Employees worked overtime. Managers blamed each other. Richard became paranoid. He suspected competition but could not identify the source. One afternoon, Richard received shocking news. Urban Vibe officially terminated their contract with Brightcore. The email stated, "Service quality does not meet expectations. Strategic direction misalignment." Brightcore lost one of its biggest revenue streams. Richard slammed his desk in anger. He didn't know that Olivia was behind it, not through sabotage, but through better performance. At the same time, Olivia received her first major funding offer. Jason called Olivia again. "They're ready to invest in NovaReach." "How much?" Olivia asked. "Enough to expand operations." Olivia closed her laptop slowly and smiled for the first time in weeks. She didn't celebrate loudly. She didn't post on social media. She quietly signed documents. She expanded her office. She hired more talent. She strengthened her infrastructure. This wasn't revenge yet. This was preparation for the final strike. One evening, Olivia stood near her office window watching city lights. She remembered the day she was escorted out of Brightcore with a cardboard box. She remembered Richard's cold eyes, HR's silence, security's hands on her shoulder. She whispered softly, "You took my idea. Now I will take your empire." She opened her calendar, marked a date, Brightcore's upcoming annual industry conference, where top companies, investors, and media would gather. Olivia smiled. That's where the truth will walk on stage. The day of the industry conference arrived. The conference hall was grand, filled with towering banners of top companies, investors, and media outlets. Brightcore's executives, including Richard, strutted through the hall proudly, unaware that Olivia Carter, the woman they had betrayed, would soon control the narrative. Olivia arrived quietly. She was dressed in a sharp black blazer, her hair tied neatly. She carried a laptop and a small folder containing documents she had spent months preparing. Every step she took was calculated. Every glance around the room was careful. She wasn't here to beg. She was here to conquer. Brightcore had secured a prime stage slot. Richard would present their innovative strategy, Olivia's stolen idea, as if it had always been their brilliance. Investors, clients, journalists, and competitors were seated, waiting. The room buzzed with excitement. Olivia's plan was simple yet precise. She wasn't going to yell, confront, or make a scene. She would let evidence, data, and results speak. And when the truth hit, the humiliation would be complete. She connected to the projector quietly, just as the first presentation started. The slides were branded under NovaReach, her company. Investors glanced curiously at the screen, but Olivia's calm demeanor drew their attention. Richard was still speaking on stage, explaining the Brightcore strategy, praising the team, and boasting about efficiency metrics. Then Olivia pressed a button. The projector switched. The first slide appeared, a timeline showing the creation of the original model, with timestamps, email submissions, and Olivia's pitch to Brightcore months ago. Every document had proof. Every version update was clearly hers. Every calculation, every spreadsheet, every framework carried her name. A murmur spread through the audience. Richard froze. One of the investors leaned forward. "Excuse me, who is presenting this?" he asked, clearly confused. Olivia stepped forward calmly. "Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olivia Carter. I created the strategy you're currently hearing about as Brightcore's innovation." She paused, letting the words sink in. "I presented it internally months ago, and it was stolen without credit. Today, I'm here to show the full potential of the model, implemented correctly." The room fell silent. Richard turned red with anger. He whispered to a colleague, "What is she doing here?" Olivia continued, her voice steady. "Brightcore implemented my system, but they misunderstood critical components. Campaigns failed, profit margins suffered, clients are leaving, investors are frustrated. I will show you the correct way to run this model, and the results are undeniable." She pressed another button. The next slide displayed real-time performance data from NovaReach's clients, improved revenue growth, optimized campaigns, and higher ROI, all achieved using her evolved model. Graphs, charts, and client testimonials flashed across the screen. Investors whispered to each other. Some exchanged shocked looks. Media representatives started taking notes. One investor asked, "How did you achieve these results so quickly?" Olivia smiled faintly. "Because I built the system from the ground up, understood every nuance, and applied it correctly. Brightcore only saw the blueprint. I saw the entire structure." Richard tried to interrupt. "This is slander. These are false claims." Olivia turned to him, her gaze sharp. "Check the files, Mr. Hale. You will find every email, every report, every timestamp proves my ownership. This is not slander. This is fact." Her calm confidence silenced the room. Brightcore's PR team tried to intervene, but Olivia had sent the documentation to investors, journalists, and key clients before the conference started. Everything was documented. Everything was undeniable. An investor rose. "We need to reconsider our contract with Brightcore. Their strategy is clearly mismanaged, and the original creator is here demonstrating a superior result." The murmurs escalated. Brightcore's reputation in the room began to crumble in real time. Olivia pressed the final slide, a side-by-side comparison of Brightcore's failed implementation versus NovaReach's successful execution. The contrast was striking. Profit loss numbers, campaign errors, and mismanagement metrics were clear. Journalists began whispering, phones came out, and soon tweets and posts were being drafted live. Richard turned pale. He tried to respond, but the room ignored him. He had lost control. His authority evaporated in front of the audience. Sophia, who had accompanied Richard to the conference, sat in shock. Her face drained of color as she realized the person she had underestimated, the woman she had dismissed, now controlled the narrative. She tried to leave quietly, but security politely blocked her exit. Olivia's voice remained steady. "This is why betrayal never pays, not in business, not in life. Ideas can be stolen, but understanding, skill, and execution cannot be taken. Today, Brightcore and its leadership are exposed for what they are, a house built on someone else's work." The room erupted in whispers, applause, and camera flashes. Investors approached Olivia immediately after the presentation. Offers were made on the spot. Contracts were signed. Funding was promised. Media wanted interviews. Her once lost reputation was now stronger than ever. Richard stood silently, humiliated, while Olivia calmly packed her laptop. She had no desire to gloat. Her satisfaction came from the results, not the drama. A few hours later, Brightcore faced a cascade of consequences. Investors demanded internal reviews. Clients terminated contracts. Board members questioned Richard's competence. The company that had once fired Olivia and stolen her idea was now in a fragile state, exposed for poor management and ethical violations. Meanwhile, Olivia returned to her hotel room. She sat by the window overlooking the city lights and reflected on her journey, from a junior analyst betrayed by her own company to a founder controlling the narrative. She had transformed herself completely. Her pain had become fuel. Her strategy had become power. Her phone buzzed with a message from Jason. "You did it. They're finished." Olivia smiled. She didn't reply. She didn't need to. She had done more than win a business battle. She had reclaimed her dignity, her reputation, and her life. That night, she wrote the first entry in her personal journal for her new venture. Trust carefully. Work relentlessly. Betrayal may happen, but revenge can be smart, silent, and absolute. The world outside continued without pause, but inside Olivia's heart she felt a calm she had never known before. No anger, no tears, only clarity, only power. And somewhere in the shadows of Brightcore, Richard and his team realized too late the woman they had dismissed, fired, and betrayed was now untouchable and unstoppable.